Buddha was once visited by his 500 followers after a long gap of 6 months. He had learned that during this period they had fallen prey to indulgences and had wavered from the path he had preached to them. Wishing to teach them the importance of sticking to the path of Dhamma, he spoke, "Let me tell you a story of two merchants. A long time ago, there lived a wealthy merchant named Devdutt, who had 500 men and wagons under him. He was once passing through an arid desert along with his caravan. After many days of traveling through the desert, Devdutt, his men and his oxen were all tired and bored between the hot sun and monotonous sandy landscape. Fortunately, they had carried big jars of water which could quench the thirst of all the men and oxen for many more days. But these jars were making the carriages heavy and their trudging slow. Suddenly, in the middle of the desert, they saw a small group of men on the horizon. It appeared to be a company of a mighty lord and his armed men. But very strangely, in the middle of that desert, they all seemed drenched with water, their faces fresh with recent baths. They also had blue lotuses and white water lilies around their bodies, as if they had been just out of pools. As they approached nearer, Devdutt and his men curiously asked the company, "Where did you find the lotuses and water lilies? And how are your cartwheels muddy and wet? Pray, did it rain while you were on the road? And did you come out of the pools covered with lotuses and water lilies?" Hereon, the Lord exclaimed, "Don't you know? A little ahead, there is a thick forest with tall trees and cool shadows. Onward there is nothing but water all through the forest. And it is always raining there, always. And the pools there are fully covered with lotuses and water lilies." Hearing this, the merchant's men got jubilant. So eager were they to reach the forest. They got their water jars broken and the water all thrown away so that their carriages got lighter and hence speedier. Excitedly thereupon, they marched forward towards the refreshing forests, rains and pools. Ahead on their journey, however, the caravan did not find even one drop of water for leagues and leagues. Thirst exhausted the men beyond their endurance. All day long till the sun went down, they kept on the march. But at sunset, the tired out men sank to the ground and fainted. And as soon as night fell, the other company of men turned up around them. They threw aside their disguise and revealed themselves to be goblins. And then they slew every man and every ox and feasted on their flesh. A few weeks later, another man named Bodhi happened to be in the middle of the same desert with a similar caravan of 500 wagons. His men and oxen too, like the first merchant, were worn out of will and energy to tread further. And he happened to see the same company of the same lord on the horizon. Although Bodhi was suspicious of their appearance and did not speak to them as they came closer, his men, out of curiosity, started chatting with them. The company told them the same lies as were told to Devdutt's men. But Bodhi, seeing through them, shouted at them, "Be gone! We are men of business. Do not talk about futile matters." The Lord shrugged his shoulders and rode on till he was out of sight. But when the company was gone, Bodhi's men were full of doubt and were reluctant to carry the burden of the water jars. They said to him, "Sir, we heard from those men that yonder is a forest, where they said it was always raining.
They also had lotuses and water lilies on their heads. And not to forget, their clothes and hair were dripping wet. Let us
throw away our water and get on a bit quicker with lighted carts." They suggested together. On hearing these words, Bodhi ordered a halt and spoke to them.
"Tell me,"
He said,
has any one of you ever heard before today that there was a lake or a pool in a desert? No, sir.
"No, sir."
Tell me, how far does a cool rain wind carry?
"A league, sir."
Has any such wind reached any one man here?
No, sir. They shook their heads.
Has anyone seen a dark rain cloud? Or seen a flash of lightning? Or heard a peal of thunder? Surely, all this can reach a man from many leagues.
"No, we haven't seen or heard any of that."
No, we haven't.
"No, we haven't," they all murmured.
These were not men, but goblins. I saw that even under this hot sun. They had no shadow. They were hoping that we would believe their lies and throw away our water so that they could later feast on us when we are weak of thirst.
With these words, Bodhi convinced his men and they all marched forward again without wasting the water they had. Eventually, they came upon the 500 carts of Devdutt's caravan with fleshless skeletons all around. The men in Bodhi's caravan were shocked to see the sight, but pleased that their master guided them right. With this story, Buddha expounded to his followers that men who out of temptations jump to conclusions and do not apply learned wisdom fall prey to lies, while the men who stick to the absolute and indisputable truth, even though it demands hardships, prosper. Buddha's followers understood what the master had to say, and they never again wavered from his teachings.
Jatak Tales are ancient texts in Pali language that illustrate the teachings of Buddha in the form of parables. It stands out from the rest of ancient Indian literature with its greater emphasis on magical elements, surreal themes, and abundance of mythical creatures. Such a treasure trove of Indian literature is worth exploring. At Glimpses, we aim to do just that. So see you again with yet another new video. Till then, please like, share and subscribe to our channel. Namaste.